All right, the discoveries just keep coming on. It's 425 episode, that is, of Fine Music, and we head to Charlie Zero. What do you got for us today, Charlie? You said something very interesting.
Yes, I got five things. Uh One, I don't know if you guys touched on this band, but if you did, I'm sorry. Secret Chiefs 3.
What is it?
Secret Chiefs 3.
No.
No.
They are well, one of the members, Truce, I forget his last name, but he comes from Mr. Bungo. And this band, Secret Chiefs 3, has everything avant-garde, with Persian music to surf to metal to you name it. It's all clammed into one. And
Wow.
techno too. And obviously jazz and uh the main member Truce, he combines philosophies in it, like Kabbalah, some Jewish, and I forgot, can't remember off the bat, but please listen to Secret Chiefs 3. The album I recommend is Book M. And true story, as I read the description on it, the label at that time set to release that album exactly on September 11th, 2001.
Wow.
Last minute, they were telling them you can't release it, but an agreement was an agreement by the group and the label, and they said no, release it on September 11th. And they, sure enough, they released it. I forgot how many CDs at the time they released, but it was like a limited edition, and then they had to pause due to what had happened on September 11th. So the guy said, whoever the lucky ones that bought the CD at the record store, you're lucky, because if it says 2001 release, then you're lucky to have gotten it, because not many any band at that time had a pause on a lot of things except for this band. So Book M by the Secret Chiefs 3. Second one, I show this one to Don. This guy's name is KARL BISCUIT, and he's from the 80s, French avant-garde pop solo guy. He does have they have a Bandcamp, or he has a Bandcamp, but he hasn't been active since of the late 80s, so he was like a one-hit wonder. The album I recommend is Secret Love by KARL BISCUIT, and it's very, very beautiful. The arrangements. There are some pop stuff that are very familiar, and then there's some opera mixed in there, some electronic, some. It's all over the place, but his voice gives it such a very different feel of what kind of music he was trying to put out and produce. But yeah, KARL BISCUIT, album Secret Love. They have it on Bandcamp, so you could get that. And number 3, Great Falls. That's a noise rock band, but they also incorporate metal and post-hardcore. The album is Objects Without Pain. I had a great honor and just listening to this group. I barely discovered them at the beginning of this year. I didn't even know they existed for such a long time. And when I heard Objects Without Pain, my mind just, wow. They're very heavy, they're angry. They're just, it's so good to know that you have someone on the other end that knows what you're feeling. And if you're feeling that, Great Falls, the album Objects Without Pain, is the way to go. So that came out in 2023, last year. Number 4, Consumer Electronics. The album Surge came out this year, 2024. They're considered power electronics. He's a one-man group. He was the singer's name is Philip Best, and he's also known for being in the other power electronic group called White House. So yeah, Consumer Electronics carries of this album. It's very, I'd say, spoken word, but when you listen to it the first time, it might come off as very static, but that goes without the whole entire album. It makes you feel very uncomfortable because he did that with White House at the time. So they pierce that right in your flesh just so he can make you listen. And then the words come in. And some of it does get a little bit disturbing depending on the subject matter that he talks about. But you could drown that out with the noises that he's producing. So Consumer Electronics, album Surge, really, really good. If you're into power electronic type of sounds, cool. If not, it's all right. Last one, 5. The band's called This Heat. Album is called Deceit, came out in 1981. And they are considered experimental rock, post-punk, and avant-prog. And this band, This Heat, is all over the place with this album. Bit of jazz, punk, almost like reggae at some parts. Their vocal ranges go from who could I describe them? Bit of like the Flux of Pink Indians, or early stuff of that punk era, or Crass, a little bit of that. But this band was not afraid to challenge the norm of what they thought punk was at the time. So they decided, oh, let's throw the rule of punk book away. Let's craft our own type of punk music. Let's shove it in their faces to say, look, it's not all about punk. We could experiment and we could take it to the next level, even with jazz, even with saxophones, even with electronics. They really, really nailed this album, Deceit, right to the bone. And yeah, I highly recommend it. So This Heat, album Deceit, 1981. And that is all.
Well, I'm looking at, you were talking about Secret Chiefs 3.
Yeah.
And I looked them up on Discogs. You're talking about some expensive albums there. There must be very collectible.
Yeah.
Hard to find.
Well, on Amazon, you can get it for a little bit cheaper, but other than that, I mean, you could listen to it on Bandcamp. There's a lot of stuff on Bandcamp or YouTube. But it's very, very, those guys are mind-blowing. Trust me. There's no vocals. Some of them, they do bring a special guest, but for the most part, you're in for quite a treat with Secret Chiefs 3. You'll be relaxed, like you're in paradise. But then when they kicks in, you're like, what the hell? Like, where did that come from? It went from Persian music to metal to surf, and what the hell is going on? But will surprise you. So
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah. So yeah, brace yourself for that.
Very cool.
Thank you, Charlie. I always love your recommendations, because you really bring out stuff that needs to be put into the light. So thank you, Charlie.
No, thank you.
Yes.